Hello and welcome to another episode of Wyverns and Weirdos, a D&D podcast set in the world of Fierlor. Do we have any plugs quickly before we jump in? I believe, Ed, it is the start of your birthday month.
Birthday month, birthday
We are
month.
in October now. Actually,
Time is a lie.
Check out his PayPal.
yeah, because
Check out my PayPal.
we are recording this like 3 months in advance. Almost 3 months in advance.
Look, full disclosure, it is July as the time that we are currently recording. Time is really fuzzy right now. I think to all of us, I hope you're all doing well and survived the current happenings of this July, if you are local, and if not, that you're just surviving in general. But if you do feel like making a generous donation to a trans person's top surgery fund or just a fun fund, my PayPal link is in my Twitter always. Happy birthday to me for this month. But also, take care of yourselves. And if you can't, share the link with your friends. Or just share Wyverns and Weirdos.
Yes.
Because while I don't make the money off of Wyverns and Weirdos, I love it a lot. And it's a passion project. And I hope to one day. So,
yes.
share us.
Yeah.
Make our dreams come true.
Yeah. We do have the Patreon and the Redbubble if you want to support the show itself financially and get some cool homebrew notes or merch, depending on which you support for it. But honestly, the best thing that you can do to support a podcast is to share it so that there is more of an audience. And the bigger the audience gets, the more we can kind of spread our wings and do more of this nonsense. So yeah,
I do just quickly want to say, if you feel like jumping in and just seeing what we're about, our premieres on YouTube are a really great way to sort of get introduced. Even if you're not up to speed, you can jump in where we're currently at and see it live. And then some of the cast, not all of us, because we are busy and this isn't our day job, but a lot of the cast usually jump on, they'll have a chat and make little comments. You most likely will find a relative or two of Zoe's absolutely dunking on everything that's going on. It's a delight. So come join us and interact with us. And if you like what we're doing, have a listen.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into another episode of Wyverns and Weirdos. And we're back. So, where we last left off, the party got to the city of New Arcadia and made their way to the the Concord's base within the city and discussed the way forward, deciding that they were going to use a meeting that the Wizards of the Ruins Dread Magisters were having to sneak their way into one of their lairs and do some reconnaissance work, maybe some sabotage, who knows. I should also mention the elephant in the room that for video listeners who have already spotted it, audio listeners may not have picked up on it. We are missing Mitch, much like Johanna a couple of weeks ago. Life has happened. Mitch is all fine, just things are busy at the moment, and we will deal with Caius and the NPCing and all that of Caius this week.
Yeah, you all might see some separate scenes going on in this episode. Audio listeners, you probably won't notice any difference.
No. Video listeners might notice a jump at some point. Or hopefully a fade. Hopefully a fade. Anyway, so we left off with the party going out leaving the tavern that was a front for the Concord. And heading off towards Kira Embren's tower, or the portal there too. So, as you all head off, can I get everyone to roll me a stealth check?
Are these just flat rolls? I know Sam was casting seeming on us.
It is just a flat roll. Seeming will be incorporated into anyone that if you get seen, it will get incorporated into if anyone sees you. But other than that, you're fine. So I have rolled Sam's Bertie.
I rolled a 16, which is actually really good for Birdie.
Okay.
He's not very stealthy.
16 total?
Yeah, 16
not much
total.
of a difference, but
No,
yeah.
he's got +2
Plus,
compared to other people.
Yeah. Anya?
So Anya actually rolled pretty low for her. So she got a 30. Because she rolled a 13, which is only 2 above her minimum.
Yeah.
That she can roll. So,
Yeah.
just a 30.
Disgusting.
Just a near impossible DC beater. Newman?
Got very low. Rolled a 7. Total of 25, which I checked is the exact same roll as the last stealth roll as well.
Human's consistent.
Fate would have it.
Okay. And Ross?
21.
21. Okay, yeah, so...
On a 16, baby.
and
Nice.
Not a row.
yeah, and Sam was 28. I rolled
What
up
was
that.
Caius?
Oh, that's right, Caius. All right, let me grab his character sheet up. That's a natural 19.
Oh my gosh. I will also say, for flavor's sake, probably while we're doing this stealth thing, because Birdie's not very confident with this, Birdie's making himself very small and quiet while we're sneaking along, and he's probably effectively tucked himself into Caius's side, and I believe Caius would probably be doing the same kind of thing, because this sort of stuff isn't really Birdie's wheelhouse at the very least. And I can imagine as we continue on for what we were going to be doing, at a certain point they'd just be holding hands again, because that's pretty common with them beyond what they are now. So just for flavor's sake, Mind Palace imaging.
Just for the record, for if anyone ever in the future decides they're gonna write up the stats of rolls and results for this show, that natural 19 from Caius on stealth is a 24. Because he gets half proficiency to all dex and strength skills if he's not proficiency in them. So
I am going to be a stiffler. Did you roll that at disadvantage? Because doesn't he get disadvantage for his armor?
no, because his
Not his new armor.
Yeah, his new armor is
shit.
mithril.
Ooh.
It also has some magical properties, but the base armor itself is made out of mithril. So it
Mithril.
doesn't...
I retract my
No,
rules lawyering.
No, always good to keep me honest. So yeah, you are able to sneak your way rather proficiently towards Kira's tower. At the center of the city, the smallest point where you basically got a ring of 8 small, almost outhouse-like buildings. They are basically just enough for a doorway. And you find one that is the door is on the bigger end, which you get the impression this is probably because of Kira's rumored mechanical form. And yeah, what would you like to do?
Firstly, are there any people who are suspicious? People standing around, perhaps wearing guard outfits?
Roll me a perception check.
With pleasure. Another low roll, 17.
17. There's nothing particularly close, but you can see in the kind of middle distance there are some guards, which, while guard presence is high in the city at the moment, you don't feel like the guards that you saw, that you're seeing in the general area are more than you would expect from what you've seen in the city thus far.
And can Newman kind of navigate, or sort of, I don't know what the word is, but does Newman know where he is in retrospect to where the Dragon's Lair was?
You're actually in that same ring of entrances. So the dragons, I mean, I haven't established it. So let's say the Dragon's Lair is opposite. The entrance to the Dragon's Lair is opposite Kira's.
So we actually were right where we needed to be as soon as we left.
Yes.
Cool.
But you didn't know you needed to be there until
Yes, yeah.
you went elsewhere.
And so if Newman used his very big head, now I will need DM assistance for this because I myself do not have 25 intelligence.
Of course.
Could Newman piece together that each one of these outhouses is a Dread Magister's portal, perhaps? Or something of the sorts? Or is there some sort of connection here?
I would say yes, because do you have proficiency in Arcana?
No.
Okay. What is your Arcana modifier?
I'm going to say +8.
Yes. Okay, so I might get you to roll for this one, but given what you know, it's going to be a fairly low DC.
Oh my god, stop it. 12.
12. Okay, like the DC was, given what you have been told, the DC was only at a 10. So yeah, you're able to work out fairly easily. Yeah, these must be the portals.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Keen to get a 7 or higher on my rolls so far. Cannot wait until it happens. But yeah, okay. It doesn't look like there's too many guards, and judging by the looks of it, that's where we need to be. And I guess if we were in a tight spot, the Dragon's Lair is right behind us, he says sneakily. And if not, if we're too far away from each other, he says it on the earrings.
Right. So, we go in?
I don't know how I feel about how close all of these portals are.
If timing is to... Or the timing of it all, hopefully none of these are occupied at the moment. At least not by the big bads, so... The Dread Magisters...
mean... It would be easy for us to be ambushed, is all.
Should we perhaps take this extra cautiously? Perhaps. Look, I hate thinking about it, but like, do we have anyone that would want to maybe stand out the front, or like maybe go halfway make sure we have a way out. Does anyone have any spells that can sort of guarantee a way out?
Birdie kind of like has again like tucked under Caius, and he kind of like, they're holding hands at this point, kind of momentarily gives his hand a squeeze, and then he kind of just like ducks his head out from under. He's like, if we can take a peek inside and see what the kind of portal place is like, I think it's a good idea to kind of have someone out keeping an eye out, but out the front here is it'll look too suspicious, but maybe in there that might be a bit safer. And I guess it would probably be best to have a quick peek to see. I mean, we might stick our head in and it might just go off like an alarm bell the second we step in, so probably better to assess.
Best look out for magical doormats. Hopefully they haven't stolen that idea. That's mine. I swear, if another artificer steps on my toes and takes my trademark property, I will sue.
Anya, she chuckles a little bit, and then she's like, okay, well, I think maybe I will go first. I'm quiet and light-footed, and I can warn you if it is a trap. Is that okay?
Good idea.
I was about to say Birdie locks eyes with Anya and nods at her, but then I remembered. So probably instead, one of the millions of cantrips he has, she probably just feel like a bit of his energy. Yeah, we trust.
Yeah, she does a little smile of acknowledgement. She's like, okay,
Would you like some assistance in case there's any traps or something like that? I can send Zoot Suit along with you.
I think it would be best on my own to begin with. Zoot Suit is not as conspicuous as, well, I can be.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You go ahead, let us know if there's any traps. The rest of us will follow in and we'll work out who can stand guard.
Anya, she taps her earring and opens the channel, just so it's loud and clear, and everything she's saying is being transmitted, just in case.
Yeah. Yes.
And she very cautiously stealths into the doorway. Would you like me to roll a stealth?
I would say it's not particularly necessary at this juncture. Especially considering her minimum.
Would you like me to roll a stealth?
No, not at this juncture.
But anyway.
Okay, so, did you roll anyway and get something disgusting?
She rolled a nat 20. Which is a 37, by the way.
Anya turns invisible. Anya vanishes off this plane.
Anya vanishes into campaign 2.
I'm retiring her for campaign 2, W. Yeah. You can't do that.
No, she'll just momentarily appear and then disappear in campaign 2.
Yeah, keep your eyes open for the Easter egg in campaign 2 of Anya just blipping into existence and then leaving.
Alright, so you enter into Kira's workshop. The entrance kind of hall is a simple 15 by 15 foot room with a single door leading inwards. There doesn't seem to be any sort of guard outpost here. If you want to investigate, for any traps, you can do that.
Yeah, so she is going to investigate for traps. I just realized she's proficient in investigation.
Yeah.
Which is just... that makes me very happy. Yeah, she is going to quickly do a investigation for traps, but she's kind of very quietly speaking out like everything she's taking in. So she like will tap her foot on the ground and be like, it feels like a narrower space, like maybe whatever 15 by 15 would like naturally be in whatever system of measuring we fantastically do. And I do not hear a god presence. So that would be a 16.
16?
Because of the efficiency thing. But...
there also don't appear to be any traps here, so...
I have felt around for basic traps, and I don't believe that there are any. There could be some magical, but I cannot sense them. I think we're clear. For this entrance, anyway. And she relays that to the others.
Bertie's been like looking back and forth with Caius the whole time, who both of them don't look very comfortable, I imagine. But then he kind of like looks at Newman and Ross and like just, what do you think?
Well, sounds like an entrance room leading further into what is invariably a wider laboratory. Would be a good space to have a guard set up. Any ambush comes in, you can bottleneck them. We need to leave. We don't look like we're running away, cause a stir in the middle of the street.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
So, let's go in, shall we?
Right. So the rest of you enter into this entrance hall.
So I guess once we kind of reach this sort of entrance bit and we've kind of like looked around, Bertie's been kind of like exchanging a lot of looks with Caius, and then he'll kind of like sort of separately from whatever they're doing, kind of step forward and go, and on like the Mister and be like, "We're all in here, aren't ya? Still nothing?"
Still nothing.
Okay. And like Bertie kind of like steps forward properly. He doesn't look very confident at all to people who can see. And you can probably feel that energy, but he's trying to be, I guess. And he kind of like nods to himself and he's like, okay, I have a suggestion. I think I should stay out here. Caius, if you want to, I think we both should. He kind of like looks at Caius and then pauses for a moment. He's like, I'm not as fast on my feet as the rest of you are, and I'm not as sneaky as I used to be no more either, thanks Thethys, but I'm good at keeping an eye out. I guess not as good as you, Anya, but I'm okay. And as you already mentioned, we got the earrings, so they should stretch out pretty far, I reckon. So we can let each other know if you guys get into trouble, and this way, like, we can let you all know if we've got to regroup and get out of here, I guess. And we can just step out of the portal through quickly as fast as we can, or through brute force, I guess. And besides Caius and I, and he kind of looks like a little slyly at Caius and like casually touches, like he's got a little jar or pot or something he has on his belt, and then like kind of just nods at Caius and is like, we got something that will help us get to y'all a bit faster, like through walls at least. I'll elaborate more on that one later, but I think this will work, because, well, you three are probably, no offense, guys, the best ones for this kind of thing at getting in safely and getting out safely, quickly.
Correction. 4. Sam is there, remember?
He says that anyway. Sam looks mildly like, what? And then he's like, kind of like ignores the awkward pause that's after that. He's like, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I know that's kind of, I'm not really the person in charge of this. It's Newman and Ross, but I think that would make the most sense. And yeah.
Anya, she kind of steps out of like a shadowy little spot that she's stuck into.
It's just Anya. Oh god.
Just
my
keep herself hidden.
Oh boy.
And she takes Birdie's hand and gives it a squeeze, and she's like, I trust you. Stay safe. And she looks up to Caius and gives him like a little nod. And it's like, same goes to you, okay?
Of course.
Yeah. Actually, and then but he kind of like still holds on to her hand when she gives her the squeeze, and he kind of like leans closer and he's like, I'll be honest, I wanted you to be in there with Newman and Ross. I don't feel great about how they've been lately. For themselves, not, the decisions they've been making. We should talk about that later. But I trust you to keep them safe the most, I guess.
We will later, but
yeah,
I have also noticed.
Yeah. And, well, I know you didn't like the word leader last time, but, I still trust you to do what needs to be done. More than myself, honestly. But yeah.
Gotta have someone looking out at the choices and the sacrifices. The same mistakes can't always happen again.
No. I know. Be careful. And then Betty kind of leans back and lets go of her hand, and he's like, cool. Well, again, we're on the messenger ring, so again, if you guys need help, come let us know. And again, he kind of like shares that weird kind of like look with Kai, so he's like, we got something that can help, probably. But yeah, we'll if there's any danger, we'll cut and run, all of us together. And
Anya, as she sort of steps back in a way to sort of cover up the quiet conversation and to brush it off a little bit, she gives Birdie a smirk, and she's like, now, this is important, so you two better not distract each other.
And Barry just like goes bright blue in the face. And like kind of just like, I was like, well. Yeah, no, absolutely. We will, won't we, guys? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. But yeah, no, we'll be okay. I've got Kais, and we're pretty good together, so well, I guess you're all gonna trust me on that one, right? And I gotta trust you guys to be safe, Remember, if something happens to you, I'll kill you. He winks at them very badly.
And do we ever get ourselves in trouble? Come on.
Anya, laughs heartily at the joke that Birdie just made, like it's the funniest thing she has ever heard.
Yeah, Birdie would probably just laugh even more. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, awesome. So, yeah, God work. We'll do it. Yeah. He just puffs himself up as much as he possibly can.
Stay safe, boys.
Of course.
You too.
Ross is Ross has got like a little smirk on her face as soon as Anya said the distract thing. She's just like, ha, 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 ha. And then it's like, serious.
All right. So, for the sake of Laura not sitting out, Laura is going to take some mechanical control of Sam now, and a little bit of leeway to take RP control as well. So, the four of you enter into the doorway in front of you. A narrow 50-foot long corridor opens up as you traverse through it, almost like the top of a funnel by the end of it, into a large cylindrical room with doors at various heights along its walls once you hit the end. This cylindrical vertical corridor is about 120 feet high, and Anya, you probably notice there is a faint arcane hum permeating the air.
There's magic here.
Newman
Tastes acidic.
Yes. What are passive perceptions of Newman and Ross? You can see a small flicker of a metallic a metallic something on the wall right at the top of the cylinder.
Now, what could that be?
So you're all currently basically at the edge of this room at the moment. Yet to step into the cylinder construct itself.
And is there any of them fabled mechanoids around? Mechanical constructs
not
that
in here,
Newman
no.
has heard about?
Not in here, no.
And this pillar, is there like room? Is it we're going to the inside of the pillar, or we're about to approach the outside of a solid pillar?
It is like so it's a very tall cylindrical room. The pillar is, you're going into the pillar, essentially. With the placement of so it's almost like a tower, the inside of a tower, and the placement of the doors it's almost like a vertical corridor of sorts.
Is it like are the doors like placed in a way like there's not staircases or anything? They're just sort of up the walls?
They are on the walls.
Anya, she's going to go into her pack. She's going to grab like a feather that she most likely would have in there from like some random kill she's done, or off one of her arrows, actually. She has arrows. I'm an idiot. So she plucks a feather off one of her arrows, and she carefully inserts it into the room, I guess, like trying not to cross the threshold herself, but just to see what happens.
So as you let go of the feather, it slowly drifts upwards towards the ceiling.
Interesting.
Zero gravity, I guess.
I will I'm going to do something, and I trust you both to keep me safe. And Anya steps through the threshold.
Okay, roll me a dexterity saving throw as you begin to fall up towards the ceiling.
Cool.
Unless there's any sort of reaction
she's
you
got
want to
great
do.
dex. She's got a great dex save, so that's fine. She's proficient in dex saves, so that's a 22. 21, sorry.
21, okay.
Yeah.
And you take no damage on successful dex saves, so you are able to land on the ceiling.
She calls down, she's like, gravity's backwards.
Now
You are not a feather.
100 and
I'm fine.
110 feet. Did you say?
120 feet.
120 feet. Okay. After seeing that, Newman immediately goes into his backpack, and finds out how much rope he has. Which he should have some, surely.
It usually comes in lots of 50 foot.
Like 50. Yeah. So yeah, he's got 50 foot of hempen rope. Do you guys have some rope I can borrow?
Yes. I also have a fly spell you can borrow.
I should be able to do this without using a spell, but look, if you want to do that.
Featherfall. She calls down. I have Featherfall, but I'll have to catch you on the way down. Because you're not close enough.
Up to you guys. Climb down, fly down, fall down.
Zoe, what level is fly?
Here's some rope.
Fly
Ross
is a
has
third
it
level spell.
as a third and only at a third.
Featherfall is first level, and she has 4 slots.
And it can... Well, Featherfall, you can target up to 6 people.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Ross hands Newman rope.
It's unreal. So Newman fashions...
Five creatures.
Oh, I didn't read
still,
that.
yeah.
That's cool. He's like, either jump or climb. Either way, I will get you. It's fine.
Just get that spell ready, Anya, just in case. Newman will fashion together 100 feet worth of rope, unless Birdie gives him some as well.
Birdie's not here, it's Sam.
Sam, sorry.
Probably has looked through like his little is this like a pocket bag, I believe? It's like the little chest, or is that? Does he have an actual bag?
So he does have a bag. Most of his big stuff is in the chest, but he would have prepared like most of his adventuring gear to be.
Yes, because I looked through his inventory. He doesn't have rope, so he probably like, I'm sorry, I didn't have much left after the haven't had much time to prepare, really.
That's all good. So he takes what he can, fashions whatever he can do, uses the immovable rod as an anchor, ties it to the immovable rod, and gestures for the others to climb down as the rope, I'm hoping, falls to the ceiling. Or
it does.
to us, the ceiling.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so, and he gestures for the others to climb
100 Yeah, 100 foot of rope. So by the time you kind of get it secured to something, that covers about probably 95 feet of the journey.
As soon as they're in range, Anya casts Featherfall, and on the little saves I've been doing, she rolled very highly, so it goes off like very quickly, and she sort of, as soon as she can feel they're within the range, she just pushes her magic up, and they can probably feel like the featherlight touches of the silvery magic around them. And she does it to all 3 of them, even though she does consider for a moment not casting it on Sam. And she thinks better of it. It's useful for the mission. More bodies. If there's a trap, there'll be someone to put it in. He can test the next one.
Probably while Anya's thinking this to herself, Sam's watching Anya just be like, yeet. And then him be like, oh, cool, rope, perfect, solution. And Sam would probably turn to Ross and go, I've only been with them for a couple of days, but are they normally this calm with everything?
Yeah, you kind of learn to roll with the punches on this one. They really do just do things and then just expect you to roll with it. It's been a real year, hey.
You have some
Wow.
interesting friends, Rivari.
Well, could be your friends too. And then she climbs up the rope.
Alright.
I was so hoping she'd just jump.
So,
And then I would just catch her with the spell.
yeah.
Sam watches
Well,
on
here's the thing.
softly.
For the climb down the rope, Newman doesn't have to make this check because he has a climb speed.
Yes, exactly my plan.
But can I get Sam and Rivari to roll me athletics checks as they climb down?
Zoe, what did you roll?
A 5, which makes it a 12. And just to double check, when you say climbing down, we're climbing up,
Yeah,
right?
climbing up,
yeah.
but it's the motions of climbing down. Sort
Oh, because we
of.
like as soon as we step
Or
in, we like flip.
So off put by the gravity here.
You know what it probably is? It's probably like Ross has her cool little moment, grabs onto the rope expecting to stay the same way up, and then doesn't, and immediately is like, fuck! And like just zoom!
Yeah.
And Anya just very quickly is like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And what was Sam's result?
Funnily enough, Sam got a 22.
22.
he just repels up the rope with the skill of someone who's a captain of the guard, I guess, for some time.
Yeah. And I'd imagine he has a decent understanding of how featherfall works, so I'd imagine seeing Ross fall, he'd probably leap down so that Anya doesn't like have to expend multiple uses of the spell.
Yeah.
Because
Easy.
otherwise, Ross is going to come into range way before Sam.
It lasts for a minute. Like,
Yeah, but
it's fine.
Yeah.
With my personal knowledge of repelling, which isn't admittedly a lot, but I'm surprisingly good at it. It's very quick on the way down. Like, you're just kind of jumping and you're going down. Like, it's fun. It's a good time.
all right. So, yeah, as you reach the ceiling,
Quickly, does Ross take any damage from that?
no, because featherfall.
Hey,
Featherfold, baby.
Yeah. So, on the ceiling, Newman and Ross, you are able to make out the glint of something that you saw from the floor. And it is some form of dial that seems to have 5 points to it. So five positions to this dial. It is currently straight up. So there is 1 left, 2 left, 1 right, 2 right, and then center.
Curious.
so technically, are we looking down at our feet now? Because we're like standing on the ceiling like bats?
Technically, it's the physical sensation of looking down, but you're technically looking up.
Okay. Oh, this is a lot.
This is,
Okay, so-
I'm, for the sake of simplicity, I am going to refer to your directions as if the ceiling is the floor.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
It's
Ross.
been a while since Darby has given us puzzles, and I am so grateful that my character is blind.
So, point of order, Newman would have turned off the immovable rod, used his climb speed to scale the wall if possible, as he brought the rope and stuff. And if for whatever reason he slipped, he would just use the immovable rod to catch himself and then grab his feet again and then climb back down.
Yeah, you have a climb speed. You're able to maneuver yourself within like the grooves in the brickwork.
Yeah. And Newman, once he gets to the floor, he will then use the immovable rod again, tie the rope to it just in case, because once he sees his dial, he has a feeling that we might be able to alter gravity or something, is his initial thoughts. And so if we're going to plummet to the floor, he wants something to grab onto.
All right.
So he's just going to have that just in case.
Okay.
But yeah, cool. So what kind? Are there any symbols on this dial?
No, there are just five positions. The 5 positions are marked out, but there's no indication of what is what.
And there's no doors along the wall anywhere else. No entrances.
Not on the ceiling.
Any scratch marks? Signs of previous movement? Anywhere along the walls, floor, or maybe perhaps a common spot for the dial to be. The common position, sort of like a fingerprint wearing on a keypad.
Roll me an investigation check on
Pleasure.
What are you paying attention? What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the dial itself, or focusing on like trying to see if there's any doorway?
Can I say I don't have to focus for a 40 in investigation?
Is that what you rolled?
I rolled a natural 20 and I have plus 20.
Yeah, I'll give you both for that. So, I mean, so the doors on the eastern side of the corridor, of this vertical corridor, seem to be the ones that show the most signs of use. So likely, if there's anything of interest, it will be on that side.
All right.
The dial, it would seem that this center position is like where it tends to default to, and in fact, as you inspect it, you are able to find the magical element of this is probably a bit beyond you. There is a mechanical element of this dial that appears to essentially be set to reset to this central position after an amount of time. It's going to be difficult to determine what that amount of time is without actually seeing it in action. Like, you don't know what speed the mechanics inside are set to run at, or if there's any magic at play that might influence that. But yeah, it is set to default back to this central position.
Cool. Well, guys, I kind of worked out where we want to go. I'd assume we'd want to go to the place that's most commonly used, which he points to the door, or the entrance. That seems to be the most commonly used. However, I'm looking at this and it looks like this is a timing mechanism as well as something to, I'm assuming, manipulate this space. So we only have a certain amount of time. I have no idea what that time is. And I'm thinking of hopefully navigating it to that door, and then hopefully we can make it there in time. If not, I have this rope here that'll hold us all. We can just trial and error it once so we know how long we have, and then go from there if we want to take it safe. Though, Anya, judging from what you just did earlier, you probably just want to go for it.
Human. I can't see the direction in which you're pointing, firstly. Secondly, if you place the immovable rod next to the dial, I will stay here, turn the dial, hold the rod, and reset it when needed. At least for the trial.
Yes, and if need be, perhaps we could even use something to hold it in place. So that way no one needs
immovable rod?
Mayhaps. We shall see. I'm happy to trial it. Everyone grab onto the rope just in case.
Anya shifts to the rod and she holds it. She might tie herself to it, actually. She's got rope. But she'd already jumped down, so she couldn't donate to Newman's rope fund.
Now, no matter what you do, there is a button here. And he will, like, gesture, like, sort of very awkwardly try and, like, move Anya's finger onto the button. Do not press that when we are holding onto it, please.
I also wish to get out of here alive, So, yes, that is doable. I have seen you use this rod.
Yes. I'm not sure if your magic senses can tell you where the button is, though. So please don't accidentally press it, is what I'm getting at.
Not planning on it.
Thank you.
And she's like, as she's saying this, she's like tying herself off to like on a separate rope onto the rod just in case she loses like her own grip. And then she's holding onto it. She's like, okay.
Cool.
When you're ready.
Now, Newman's just holding onto the rope. He kind of just wants to see what happens, and then they'll go from there. What about everyone else?
Ross has got a because we don't need the full length of it, she's like wrapped the rope around like her arm and she's holding it like aerial silk style, like to support her weight should anything happen.
Probably after Ross does that, Sam like attempts to mimic that, I suppose. He probably would be able to. He then just just looks baffled. That's what he tends to do. These people do their weird shit. You would say that's accurate, yes, Darby?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like mildly concerned, mostly towards Rivari, but then he's just like, okay.
Yeah, he's used to much more coordinated and pre-planned efforts.
Yeah.
Is there any like sense that Anya could get as to like how they're tying off the ropes to themselves? Like, is there any way that she would be able to sort of gauge that, I guess?
Like the how secure,
like Newman and Rivari and Sam.
Like for how secure they are, or for
and placement.
I mean, Newman did it. He's quite crafty. I'd imagine he'd do a good knot.
Yeah.
Smack bang.
Look,
in the middle
let's
of the
say
rod
for
as well.
argument's sake, just because of her perception, I guess, she hears like how Newman ties himself off, and she's like, okay, that sounds secure. And then she hears Rivari and Sam, and like doesn't hear it being tied off, just hears like a sort of rapping, and she's like, Rivari? How are you secured with the rope? Can you show me? And she reaches out a hand.
I've just got it wrapped around my arm. I can hold my weight up if we drop.
You're going to break your wrist.
Anya.
If the gravity drops, the weight of your body is going to snap your wrist.
I can... Fine.
I'm saying this as a friend.
Fine. Ross like unwraps her arm and waits for Sam to unwrap his arm and then ties herself up.
Yeah. He does the same thing to her a bit sheepishly.
Sorry, not to be...
No, it's fine. I just, it's fine.
I'm sure it looked very cool though. And she kind of just affirms her grip on the rod, and she's like, okay, is everyone ready?
Yep.
Newman gives a thumbs up. He still hasn't learned.
He's known the longest of anyone in this room.
Newman, are you ready?
Oh, yep. Yeah, good to go.
All right.
Let's do this.
So, what position do you switch the dial to?
Now, Newman would have specified in relation to the position of the pillar in the middle. Was the door like straight ahead, to the right, maybe two to the right?
Yeah, are the doors perpendicular with the dials?
No.
Okay.
No. So they are vertical doors, like in their configuration, And they're at a couple of different points. The ones that you see have the most work, the most use. There seems to be 2 pairs, and then 2 pairs around about fairly central to the tower. One near the bottom, one near the top.
Why is there fruit in this tower? I don't get it.
We are just testing for now, yes? I will go with the first dial.
Sounds good.
So,
And she switches it to the first dial.
so far left.
Like the closest to the reset stage.
Okay, so to the left or to the right?
Sure, let's go left.
To the left.
left.
Okay, so not far left, but yeah. So
I just assumed it was a one-way dial.
no. So it's essentially a 5-way switch, and this default point is the center.
Okay.
And so as you put it into essentially position 2, if we're going left to right, you feel the effects of gravity. Well, you all feel yourselves almost lightening, as if gravity is still there, but it is lowered at the moment.
Anya keeps her grip.
Is there like something, a ticking? Is there any indication of mechanism working apart from the weightlessness?
Roll me a perception check.
Sure. 16.
16. You don't hear anything. Anya, you would hear with your passive, you would hear a faint ticking, like a clock ticking, from within the mechanism.
Anya starts mentally counting
Okay.
off with the ticking.
All right. So the ticks do appear to be at basically a rate of 1 per second.
She's silent because she's counting.
Yeah.
So she's concentrating on that.
All right.
Yeah, I guess Newman will enjoy lower gravity.
All right.
He's going to lie on his back, maybe do a backflip, all whilst tethered and tangling himself in the rope.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just going to wait it out.
Ross is like looking at the 2 doors Newman indicated earlier, and she starts like fidgeting one of her hands, and she just kind of floats a little closer to Sam. And she's just like, I understand why we're doing this, but I kind of just want to go into those doors.
Yes, they're being very cautious considering what they're normally like. But I suppose it's good.
So after a minute, the dial goes back to the center point.
Okay, that was a minute even with that notch. So we can either test and continue testing, or we can assume that each notch will be a minute.
Would Newman know if that weightlessness was enough to perhaps climb, jump up to the door?
Roll me an intelligence check.
Oh, not very good at those. 24.
24. That level of gravity probably wasn't enough to allow you to just float. You do get the idea that it would probably make it easier for, if any of you were to have like a fly speed, it would effectively double the rate of your fly speed. if you, yeah, in the corridor.
Look, it's probably not strong enough unless any of you would like to fly. I believe these would be ideal conditions for flying, basically not having the effects of gravity, or at least having them mitigated a little bit. So flying's definitely an option, or do we want to go perhaps one more click to the left and see the outcome? Perhaps we can achieve weightlessness completely, and that way we could scale easily and jump easily.
We could do that. The other option is we keep the immovable rod, keep the rope up. One of us flies up to those doors, potentially on this lower setting we know works. The rest of us climb up. That way, when the timer runs out, we have a way back out.
Yeah, sure. And if need be, I could get Zoot to bring the rod back as well.
Yeah.
He can fly. It should be fine.
Do we want to attempt that at the second speed? Darby, does it look like the notches can be moved once they've been set? Like they could just test for like a couple of seconds each speed?
You are not sure. There doesn't seem to be anything that is obvious that would prevent that from occurring.
We could do a quick test. See how each feels at each notch. For a few moments, if that works.
I think as long as we start working quickly, we only have so much time.
Okay.
Agreed.
We will see what our options are here. And then... well,
From there.
go from there. Hold on, everyone.
So,
Anya's gonna like quick trial, if she can, each notch setting just to get a feel of what they are.
Okay.
And also she's going to pay close attention to the ticking she can hear
Yep.
to see if it speeds up or slows down.
Okay. Which one do you start with? Far
She's
left
just gonna
or far
go
right?
like clockwise around, just including the one that she did.
So starting with far left. Okay, so far left, you all feel gravity basically disappear at this setting. You all start to kind of float up slightly. Like you're not gonna... It's gonna take some effort to direct yourself with no gravity, but at the same time, it's doable.
And is the ticking the same?
The ticking is
or-
at the same rate.
Okay.
Yeah. Going across to second position, you felt this one. It is what it was before. It is lowered, but it's not to the point where you're just floating. You kind of drift back down or back up to the ceiling as you go into this setting. And then to the center, of course. Center is the default here. It is like standard gravity, just upside down. Then you go to the right, and you feel gravity start to intensify as you feel yourselves like almost being pushed further into the ground or into the ceiling compared to regular gravity. And if you
Newman might butt in and be like, I think I can guess what the next one will do. Probably don't have to test that one. As his face plants against the ceiling / floor.
Okay. Well, do we have a preference? all of the and correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the ticking sounds the same. So I'd say each dial is a minute, give or take.
All right. So
Zoe, you are muted.
That first one we tried might be the easiest.
So, the light gravity or zero gravity?
Light.
Right.
Because we could still control ourselves.
yeah. I mean, with the rope, we could also control ourselves as well.
Yeah. You're also
to an extent.
You're not gonna be able to rise up in the lowered gravity. You'll be able to jump higher, which might help you with getting to like the highest up door, but you're not going to be able to go much beyond that. The zero gravity setting without something like levitate or fly, or some other way of basically ascending under normal circumstances, you're not really going to be able to ascend past what a normal an enhanced jump essentially would get you under that second position. The first position, however, you can basically you can use athletics checks. And Newman, you'd be aware of this to an extent of like every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. So in theory, in a vacuum, you could move by, like, in a vacuum of gravity, you could move by exerting enough force. So the more force you can exert, the further you can move.
I definitely have a plan, guys. So I say we go zero gravity. I will take the rope I'll hold the rope with my tail as I climb up as far as I can towards the door, and I'll simply hold the rope tensioned whilst the immovable rod or someone else on the end of the rope holds it. And then you can scale using the rope by pulling yourselves. That can be the force exerted. And then we can just hopefully easily go to the door, and Zoot can either be the one to hold the dial in place or place and remove the immovable rod on the dial if need be. And if someone is holding the other end of the rope, I can just simply tug on the rope and you'll be coming our way as we pull it towards us. Any objections?
I have a suggestion, not so much an objection as an amendment. If we leave the immovable rod here, we can add my length of rope to your rope, so that's another 30 feet. You leap up to the room that we need to go to, tether the rope, and that way we can traverse the rope even if the timer slips.
Yes, so Zoot will hold the immovable rod there and set it and place it and bring it back once we're all safely in the doorway.
I think you're getting confused as to what I mean. I mean the rod stays next to the dial.
Yes, and Zoot will bring it back when we're done.
Why would the immovable rod need to move?
So Eddie's suggesting having the rod as the anchor point at the ceiling. Yeah, and then you have some sort of anchor point at the doorway. But it can't be both anchor points.
Yeah, so what Newman is suggesting is someone holds the rope on the ceiling with zero gravity. Newman will then grab the other end of the rope with his tail as he scales the wall up towards the door, because he has a climbing speed. Once he gets up to the door with the extra length of rope, which he can, he will then hold the rope tensioned and people can then climb the rope with one person holding one end, the other Newman holding it at the door. You can use the rope to weightlessly pull yourself towards Newman, and then whoever's left on the other end of the rope will get pulled in as we pull the rope in. All of us get there safely, and then Zoot Zoot is at the dial with the immovable rod.
Where I'm saying just leave the rod on the ceiling and then have that as a go-to point so that is still there for when we have to leave. And also because we only have a minute, so if we don't make that in time, gravity is going to drop, so still having that anchored at those 2 points. Does that make sense?
It hurts me to leave the immovable rod behind, just because it's one of my favorite items.
Not leaving it behind. Zoot Zoot's standing guard.
Yeah. Okay. So what? We don't take it with us. We just leave it in this room until we come back. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's the suggestion Anya was trying to make. And even if Zoot Zoot stays and attempts to continue turning the dial or just protects the rod.
Sure, for the sake of brevity of this podcast, we shall do that.
No, well, we can go with your idea. I just didn't.
No. I need to make a decision, and that's the decision I've made. So,
Cool.
Sure, we do that. How do we go now?
Okay, so
athletics checks.
yeah,
Let's go.
roll me athletics checks. I'm gonna say, for having the rope to kind of guide you, do them at advantage.
Hell yeah, baby.
Basically, the way this is gonna work, moving in this 0G setting, is each round for your movement, you can roll a athletics check, and you can move a number of feet equal to your athletics check. That's unless someone rolls really badly, that's probably not going to matter so much for this. But if things become a bit more time sensitive than purely a minute, things are gonna get a bit trickier. But for now, we'll use the one athletics check to basically treat as an average. So, Ross?
26.
26. Okay. Newman?
Well, the first one was a natural 20, so 30.
Okay. Anya?
Anya rolled, she is proficient in athletics, but she did roll quite low, so both of them are a 16.
Okay. And Sam?
22.
22. So, yeah, even a 16 is what? Yeah. You could traverse to any of these doorways. So which
Anya's probably a little bit thrown off by the fact that she can't sort of feel terra firma.
Yeah.
And feel the space around her.
So which of these doorways are you heading to first? So there's they're basically in a sort of hexagonal like shape with two paired up at the same level, and then one at the top, one at the bottom. Like, so one at the top, then two at the same height as each other, then another two at the same height as each other, then one at the bottom / top.
So I believe Newman identified one or two doors which are used the most
So
commonly.
those are the 6 that are used most commonly. There are other doors in the corridor, but those are the 6 most primarily used ones. Of those six, the very top and the very bottom one seem to see the most common recent use.
Instinct is telling me the topmost, which is technically on the floor if we were normal gravity, but Newman might also just quickly ask Anya, do any of these doors give you bad voodoo vibes?
Can I roll for voodoo vibes? Can I roll an arcana?
Yeah, roll me an arcana check.
Do any not taste
Holy
acidic?
shit! She has a 0 arcana modifier, right? I was not expecting much. That's a nat 20.
Natural 20.
Nice.
So there's
Let's get a vibe check on these.
there
doors,
is
Sully.
these 6 doors. There is particular magic coming from all 6 of them. There is quite a bit from the one nearest to the floor. So the one furthest from you at the ceiling.
Yeah.
The one at the ceiling is the magic is very strong. That acidic taste again.
Cool.
The
Well,
furthest
yeah.
away from us.
Good
Not
to hear my
this
instincts
ceiling,
were right.
that ceiling.
Good to hear my instincts were right. As Newman continues in the direction he was going.
So you're
So
going.
the topmost door at the highest point, furthest
Alright.
away from us.
And this is the most difficult map for me to maneuver onto the table because it's the big one.
The big boy.
And I need to grab something for it too.
Fuck.
Uh,
Oh no.
Is it a dragon?
no,
We're gonna fight a dragon.
no. So the
That was a very good visual comedy joke, Jake. Very good.
Thank you.
Hey.
So
we can
you-
see-
I'm scared.
you come into this room where you can see there's a blacksmithing station on one side and some supplies and a wash basin on the other. And that is very small notice from where you are, because the biggest thing of notice is a colossal. Now this miniature is representing a stone statue. The entity you're looking at is a giant mechanical colossal figure.
Anya, standing up, she sort of stretches out a little bit. Some of her bones pop back into place. And she's like, what? Why is everyone so quiet all of a sudden?
For scale, Newman, with it, you are probably, even you at the tallest, are probably just the size of this thing's hand outstretched.
At a glance, does this thing look like it has like not moving parts, but parts that are able to move?
Yes, this
Cool.
looks like some sort of construct.
He uses the earrings. There is a gigantic colossus construction in front of us. Shows signs of being able to move. We need to be very careful here.
I need to rotate this to... No, this camera view is useless.
I'm so stressed out.
It's a very big mini.
We
This
may
is terrifying.
we may have to find what we need ASAP. Does anyone have detect magic that they could use just quickly? Perhaps so we can find, or at least identify, a huge source of magic that is not this giant colossus. Just an idea.
I'm still trying to
Really?
learn her sorcerer stuff. Apologies.
I have to take magic if that will help.
That would be very helpful.
I just haven't had it prepared today, so I can't do that.
Word of warning, it will just show me the presence of any magic within 30 feet of me. But if you think it will help, I can certainly do it. Give it a try.
At least identify. I believe it helps you identify types of magic, does it not? And also strength of magic.
It just shows you basically magic.
Darby?
I can learn my school of magic.
so
It teaches you the
you
school
can-
of magic.
yeah.
Yes.
You can get the school, you can get the Yeah, you can get the school. That is about all you learn. The presence and the school, if any, is appropriate.
Well, I suppose we're here to get intel.
Newman's big brain can tell him what school necromancy is part of.
Well, necromancy is the school of necromancy.
Is that it? Okay, there you go. So yeah, if you can spot any form of necromancy magic, because I believe phylactery is part of that. I believe general knowledge, it stores souls and all that such. So yeah, and then you'll probably be blinded. So just have it for as long as you need, and then get rid of it.
All right, I'll do my best. Then Sam is going to make some little hand gestures and cast Detect Magic, first level.
Okay. There is no necromancy on this Colossus. There's a great deal of magic. Most of it comes from the schools of abjuration and evocation.
And Sam kind of like slowly describes this as like, I might be able to see more if we get closer. The only problem is it'll be closer to that thing.
We've got your back.
Does it seem? Actually, I'm gonna ask something a little bit gross. Can Anya hear a heartbeat?
You cannot. And I was going to say, with the various schools that Sam can pick up on, it does not seem to currently be animate.
Oh, a word of warning. The opposite, I suppose. Newman, it does look like, well, you would know, it does look like it could move, but it doesn't seem to be animate right now. So we should be safe as long as we're quiet.
Should we throw something at it?
Looking up Newman and Ross, you can see
they are meant to be retrieving things.
You can see that there are windows, like there are notches in the ceiling higher up that kind of line up with where the legs and arms are of this creature, jutting out in a way that and that have sort of gangplanks kind of to reach it, as if to be points of maintenance.
Would there be? I know that I'm sort of like hooking onto Sam here, but would Sam be able to see any interaction between these maintenance points and the statue itself? Magic crossing, perhaps, or anything like that?
No, it's not. So it seems to be mostly mundane. There's a little bit of magic to them, but nothing of the conjuration school that you would expect if it was like just jumping to it.
Well, I, Eddie, have an idea, but Anya, being not sighted, would not put two and two together. So I'm gonna hold my tongue and see if the others figure it out.
Yeah, I was going to say counter proposal. Newman probably has ideas, but I, Jake the player, have none. I literally just want to throw something at it, but I feel like that's a bad idea. I'm thinking illusion, but also can Newman inspect to see if it is an illusion, perhaps, without getting close to it?
Roll me an investigation check. Usually to inspect whether an illusion is an illusion.
32.
32. No, it is very real.
Right.
Darby.
Yeah.
How many maintenance ports are there?
There are 5. There are 5.
And you said they lined up with the feet and the hands?
Yeah. The legs and the arms and the head.
And the head.
And how big are these maintenance ports? Are they like maybe doorway sized?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was It could be it, but also we could get squashed. All right, cool. And this workshop at a glance, is there anything to it?
There's the kind of forge set up on one side. And
Sorry, the forge particularly.
It seems what's here seems to be mostly a standard forge setup.
I mean, look, I have an idea, but it might not be a good one.
Newman.
Perhaps this giant structure here is not for defense, but instead to transport. Perhaps it can take us to any of these doorways. Perhaps like a sort of like a fancy elevator. Or it could be a defense thing and would squash us like a bug as soon as we get close.
I was more thinking it seems as if it might be some sort of like pilotable situation. Both defense or offense.
You're welcome to take a closer look.
Elevator?
Yeah,
Should we just step inside and have a closer look?
Like it could just lift you up in its palm and take you to any of the numerous entrances as well.
Ross starts
Actually,
walking
sorry,
towards
I
the
just
construct.
remembered who I was talking to. And that does sound like something he would make. So yes, that
It would be
makes
very cool.
Perfect sense.
Maybe that's just me being hopeful. I feel like this is a great idea if it is.
Ross has gone towards the construct.
Okay. Yeah, there is no sort of activation of the construct as you go towards it. Remains dormant.
Any
Sam
kind
will-
of
Oh, sorry. Sam
you
will
go.
follow her as well. He is like glancing over to like all the other things in this room because spy. Because we have mission. So he's also glancing over that, but he's not really straying very far from Rivar.
All right.
Anya, she's keeping an ear out for the others, but she sort of turns back to Newman once she's noticed Ross going towards the construct, and she's like, I'm going to try and climb and investigate one of the ports.
Go ahead. Meanwhile, I'll have a look at the base of it. Newman wants to inspect like the ground or see if there's anything that the golem could interact with.
All right.
If it were, say, to be controlled.
Yeah. Anya, you do not have a climb speed, so please make me an athletics check to scale this giant mech automaton.
Yep. Oh, cool. Good. 24.
24. Okay, yeah, you're able to get to whatever part of it you want. So are you going for a particular point?
So remind me where the port points are again.
So they are probably at the knees. They line up with it at rest. They're at the knees, the elbows, and the head.
My apologies. I thought these ports were along the walls.
No, well, they are along the walls as well, but they meet. They meet up with the
Okay. Cool.
the automaton, like kind of gangplanks to go from what seem to be rooms with windows to access these, either to go towards them or to enter them.
Anya, she taps her earring, and she just says to the others, I'm going to investigate the head. I feel like that's where, well, the money would be.
All right. So, yeah. So you go up to the head. While you're scaling that, Newman, you have your ability as a 9th level.
I'll take it. I spend a minute examining this thing.
Yeah. Where is this? So, you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with the device, or non-magical object. You can learn certain capabilities. So, you can expend 1 Tinker's die to learn 2 aspects about the device of your choice. Save DC, disarm DC, total charges, AC, current hit points, attack roll, and damage. You can spend multiple hit dice if you want to spend multiple minutes. Anya, you are observing the head. Sam and Ross, is there anything you two are doing from where you are?
Ross was kind of investigating to see if there was any kind of entrance via way of the feet, but upon realizing what both Anya and Newman are doing, she's gonna look at Sam and be like, right, so they're investigating that. They wouldn't store a mechanical phylactery in that, would they? Do you think?
Not possible. Might be too many entry points for that. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking we know what we might end up fighting later, but I don't think we found what we need.
I agree. I presume he does. He's like, it's a good thought, Rivari. I agree. Maybe they can find something to tamper with it or something.
Yeah. Newman, Newman, Anya, do you think you can sabotage this thing?
You were there for the tower, yes? With the teleportation circle and all of the rooms.
Ross?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was hoping you would say, Anya.
Yes. There's a reason I'm going to the head first.
Okay.
If you two fuck it up, are you comfortable if Sam and I look for the phylactery elsewhere, potentially?
I'm also thinking that this might help us find the phylactery. We don't know what this thing does. Perhaps it has a purpose. Maybe it might lead us or give us some advantage, perhaps. So that's what I'm looking for, if we can, rather than sabotage it, perhaps harness it. But if it's not here, I'm comfortable with you guys going away just for a little bit, but don't go too far. And just let us know if there's anything wrong in the earrings.
Yeah.
Anya's quiet for a moment, and then outside of the earrings, she calls down and she's like, Sam?
Yes?
Don't get in her way.
I wouldn't dream of it.
So, Anya, roll me an investigation check to suss out the head. Meanwhile, Newman, for your first Tinker's die, what 2 pieces of information do you want to know?
Disarm DC and total charges, I guess.
Okay. Is there anything that in this that...
If you want, I can flavor it. Disarm DC, sabotage potential, total charges, usefulness or expenditure of the contraption.
So it's gonna take a DC 30 Thieves Tool check to sabotage an element of this device. There are several points that you can kind of sabotage, but each one's going to require a DC of 30. And unless you can access them, if you're climbing on it, that check's going to be made at disadvantage. If you're able to get to one of the gangplanks through one of the access rooms, then you can and send them out and connect, then you can have a bit more stable ground to sabotage from. the other thing was... What was the other thing? The charges.
It was total charges in the flavor of finding out expenditures or perhaps a purpose or a use.
Yeah. So, there is sort of an internal power source that you're able to work out that this thing has, that is secured away beyond your capabilities. But you're able to work out that this power source, actually let me double check whether it is beyond your capabilities. But this power source can reliably output something every 2 seconds. But then
Okay, can he spend the next I don't think it makes sense, but the next minute then specifically inspecting that device,
yeah,
perhaps using arcane? I know it's not one of the things, but could he do it with more of a magical focus?
Roll me, and this would still probably be an investigation check, so roll me an investigation check.
I can say that.
Speaking of which, Anya, what was your investigation check on the head?
She's proficient in investigation, so it was a 16 because she rolled below
16.
10.
Okay. So this.
Also, I don't know whether I was very clear about it. My intention was for her to climb up to the port so that she could access inside the head, like internally.
Yeah. And
okay.
you go for that point and discover this head is fairly solid. Like, there's not much space in here for much of anything. Roll me a medicine check.
Not her strength. But maybe tonight it is. That's a nat 20.
Nat
you can
20.
check beyond.
Good.
I'm not even joking, so that's a 25.
There
happening?
there is something that comes to mind that would probably fit in the little bit of space that is in this head very easily, almost as if it's made for it. And that is a human brain.
Oh, gross. She couldn't hear a heartbeat, could she?
No. And there is not currently a human brain in here, but there is space for a human brain.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. She taps her earring. She's like, Newman?
Yes?
How long does it take you to make an immovable rod? A long time, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you're quite attached to the one that you have?
If you're thinking what I'm thinking, I think this might be beyond the capabilities of a immovable rod. It does, unlike the name suggests, have a limit to its immovability.
Well, it was worth an idea. Okay.
While you're thinking,
Darby.
Yep.
Would this creature be considered inorganic material?
It is not currently a creature, it is an object, but it is certainly inorganic material.
Cool. Anya, like, on the earring, she's like, I'll let you continue investigating, but I can cast Shatter and probably do some damage.
And I have also found out that this thing will be quite tricky to sabotage. How are you at thieves' tools, by any chance? How good are you with your kit?
Anya laughs. She's like, I am a rogue, but how difficult do you need?
Very difficult.
Anya could make that on a 19 or a 20. Because she has a plus 11 to thieves' tools.
Alright. It's
I
kind of
can give
hard
it
to
a
gauge
shot.
because Anya is always confident. But Newman goes, I think I might have a significantly better chance. But perhaps if we work together, if we want to sabotage this thing. Have you found anything that suggests we should sabotage this?
Well,
Because it seems like that's the track you're going here.
Also of note, Newman, what was your investigation
32.
check? 32. Okay, so there is sort of you can see that there is an additional sort of power routing that that the Colossus is capable of an occasional intensified burst, and that is that it would be possible to kind of cut that capability off completely at the right arm.
Alright, so do you have any reason to sabotage this thing? Is this something we can use?
There's a space for a human brain here. And I think unless you're willing to sacrifice yourself in the name of magical science, we probably won't be able to take this one over without dipping into necromancy. I suppose we could, if we could get this out of here, we could take it to Athena. She might. But otherwise, I think this is going to be quite difficult for us to covertly escape in and get to our allies.
Newman stares off into the distance. A very sort of rhythmic, repetitive background song starts playing. Symbols, equations, graphs start appearing and floating past Newman's face as he thinks. Zoot Zoot slots into his dragon mount like a brain. Could he perhaps use his mechanical skills along with his where is it? There's a spell he has, little servant, or tiny servant, that's it, which can sprout arms and legs and capillaries and all sorts of thingy-majiggies. Perhaps could it mimic that of a brain?
You could probably mimic the physical shape of a brain. It would be hard to mimic the organic structure and functionality of a brain. Without delving into like high-level necromancy.
Yeah. I think from what I know, this particular artificer, whose name escapes me right now, Kira is mostly mechanical, and there are very few organic parts of their body left. One of which I could say with certainty is a brain. Could this perhaps be something they could use?
Yes, I think that is the exact intention, Newman. And Anya, she kind of taps into Ross, and she's like, Rivari, quick question. Teleport. Can that take giant magical constructs along with it by any chance?
If it
is an object?
If it works at all in here, I believe it can. I would be wary of Ross is probably in a different room at this point. I would be wary of teleporting a giant construct, but since we couldn't even teleport into the city, but if we could, I could. Definitely. It's just a matter of where to put it.
Do any of you have enlarge or reduce spells? Some that can alter the size of an object or a person?
So this thing would still be incredibly large under the effects of a reduced spell, because a reduced spell only reduces the size by half.
But then, yeah, it'd
I
be
do
the
not.
size of Newman relative to the size of its hand to Newman to the size of its leg, which much better.
More so to the size of its shin.
Damn. Well, I say we sabotage, unless I don't really see much place we can put this, even if we do teleport it.
How about we try to sabotage, and if we can't sabotage, we attempt to send it to the convocation. Maybe. No, maybe they don't. Sabotage is probably the best bet. I don't know whether even they should have something this powerful.
Okay, well, Newman is going to backtrack to where he saw that energy divergence, where you said something in the right arm. Does he need to sabotage that in the right arm, or can he sabotage it here to affect it?
You would have to get to the right arm.
Okay, cool. Newman climbs
Like
up
by
to the right
climbing?
arm.
Yes.
Newman
Yeah,
can
okay.
climb.
Yeah, he has a
I
climb
have-
speed. He doesn't need to make athletics
Yeah.
check.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
And it's just for like, I don't know, battering down the rules of what both Jake and I are trying to do here. Is it possible for like Anya to assist Newman, like give him the help action, and then if he fails, they go to a different spot and she tries with him helping, or would it be better for us to try individually?
So if you're assisting, then you choose one of you to make the check, and that is effectively both of you working your sabotage magic.
Okay.
So you won't know how your characters won't know how effective the sabotaging is, but you know the DC because Newman spent the time with it. Were you expending any other Tinker's die on this thing, Newman, to learn any other features of it?
Well, if we're sabotaging it, we're likely to fight this thing. So yes, he will.
While you've got the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Newman would like to spend an extra Tinker die whilst he's doing all this, if possible, to learn I believe it was let's go save. No, we won't need that because we're hopefully going to sabotage that. We'll go current hit points and AC.
Current hit points are... I just need to calculate this because it has the average, but I don't usually go the average because you guys have a big damage output. So its current hit points are 600.
Yeah.
And the other was what? Sorry.
Armor class.
Armor class
Yeah.
is 25.
Okay, and Newman will, whilst he's trying to disarm this or sabotage it, essentially, is going to use the. He does not have the immovable rod actually, because we left it in the other room. So he won't do that actually.
What was he gonna do with it?
It's at disadvantage if we're climbing on the arm.
Yeah. But if the two
so
of
he
you are
was
working together, you can cancel that out for one of you to roll.
Yeah, I was hoping to like sort of use it as a way so that he could sort of stand off as he works. He was going to stand on the rod essentially as he worked on it, but he doesn't have it.
Well, could Anya use Gus to hold Newman upright in place so that eliminates that disadvantage?
Huffy Newman.
Sorry, I was checking something.
No, that's okay. Could Anya potentially use Gust to sort of anchor Newman a little bit, like so that he's more balanced, doesn't have to worry about balance?
Yeah, we can.
If she uses the wind to that effect,
we can
and
essentially
that
play
just eliminates that disadvantage.
Yeah, that's your assistance. Yeah. Yeah. So Newman, roll me a Thieves' Tools check. Or Thieves' Tools or Tinker's Tool, they're the same result either way. What did
37.
you... 37.
I rolled a 19.
Okay,
Yes, Jake.
you have a pretty good feeling that you have solidly severed this, like, power connection for this major element here.
I guess, yeah, whilst he's being propelled, is he being propelled into the arm or like just
No, like
below
held
or
upright.
held
like
upright?
the wind is kind of gusting like to sort of support your back as if you're falling sort of backwards, you're standing upright. Probably feels a little bit weird. But Anya throws you a grin and she's like, well, that worked. Do we want to try sabotaging more?
Let's check in with the others first. If we have the time to spare, absolutely. But we're here for a reason, and this is a side goal right now, which I feel like we've done a pretty good job at.
It's at this point that you hear a familiar voice come into your mind, panicked and out of breath. The voice of Caius goes,
"If you can hear me, we need help now. This was a coordinated attack. They're too powerful. We've both taken hits and we're struggling to get close enough to fight back. We're running out of options here. Please come back."
And that's where we're going to leave it the next time. And we'll jump back at the start of next week to see what led to that between Bertie and Caius, and the aftermath as the party react to it.
And also see what Ross and Sam have been doing.
Yeah.
Whether they found the phylactery, which would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, completely forgot
We got
about
it
that.
sorted. Yeah, it's all fixed.
Roll me an investigation check for a phylactery with.
Right now?
Yeah.
No, we can. No, Darby.
Okay.
Let them all play it
Okay.
out. That's what
I-
we've
okay.
seen.
We-
See you
That
next
is Sam and
week.
Ross.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Also, yeah, shouts to my Uncle Paul, shitting on everyone in the chats, learning what
It's so funny.
subclasses
The
are.
amount of times he dunks on Ross is so funny.
Thanks, Uncle Paul.
Like, I will cause violence at any possible opportunity. Yeah, Ross needs the brain work.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Thanks, Paul.
I still think the highlight was him being like, Sam deserved being punched in the face, actually, also. Good, he deserved it. Which, I must say, rewatching that as well, just watching everyone except for probably Jake go absolutely apeshit. like especially Zoe with joy at Sam getting like his nose broken was so funny. I was
I'm
like,
sorry,
yeah,
Sam. It's
sorry,
very
Sam.
funny.
Must feel
It's
so
okay.
welcome.
I kissed him. Anyway, let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
episode.
Cool.